Spiritual, but not religious. The use of mind-altering drugs was touted as the shortcut to spirituality, vital to the quest for freedom, and was looked upon as sure evidence of personal growth. The saying, still heard today, "I'm spiritual but not religious," became the justification for one's own experience, whether on drugs or not, to be the sole determinant of truth. From that attitude, other slogans were spawned, such as, "Whatever works for you is okay," or "You've got your God, I've got mine," or "Well, that's your truth, but not mine," and so on. As in Hinduism, everything was Maya, which is an illusion, and it was up to each individual to create his own reality in his imagination. Truth ceased to be objective. Absolutes were rejected, and, as became the case in early Israel, everyone did that which was right in his own eyes, Judges 17:6. Entranced by the new universe of the mind, which they discovered in the altered states of consciousness created by LSD and other psychedelics, multitudes were hooked on the spiritual experiences they had on drug trips. To those who were educated to believe in a purely material universe, it was a shock to gain access to a non-physical universe that was every bit as real as the material one. Mind-altering substances opened the door to new adventures, not the least exciting of which was meeting spirit guides. The fact that psychiatrists began to prescribe LSD for personality treatment and a hallucinogenic drug experimental clinic was established at Palo Alto Veterans Administration Hospital are only two of the amazing developments of this period. Beginning in 1962, the Rand Corporation of Santa Monica, California, began a 4-year experiment in LSD, peyote, and marijuana. In 1963, the Beatles arrived in the United States. After their triumphant introduction on The Ed Sullivan Show, the British sound took America by storm. But the source of their inspiration was unquestionably demonic. All of the rock groups were on drugs, and their fans followed suit. Drugs and rock music simply go together, and most lyrics and scores were written under the influence of, quote, spirit entities, end quote, contacted in altered states induced by LSD or other hallucinogens. Of his songwriting, John Lennon said, quote, "It's like being possessed, like a psychic or a medium," end quote. He told of mystical experiences as a teenager, quote, "I used to literally trance out into alpha, seeing these hallucinatory images of my face changing, becoming cosmic and complete," end quote. Radio stations in San Francisco and New York City were among the first to push the Liverpool sound, the hard rock of the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and the Animals. They would later pioneer acid rock and eventually psychotic punk rock. The Beatles' press agent, Derek Taylor, in a now well-known interview, confessed, quote, "They're completely Antichrist. I mean, I am Antichrist as well, but they're so Antichrist they shock me," end quote. Yet the Beatles were hailed for their, quote, "music and influence," end quote, and were awarded the Order of the British Empire by Her Majesty the Queen, royal head of the Church of England. Famed architect Buckminster Fuller, after staying up half the night reading Ferguson's The Aquarian Conspiracy, suggested that, quote, "the spirits of the dead," end quote, had helped her to write it. Laughing, Ferguson replied, quote, "Well, I sometimes thought so, but I wasn't about to tell anybody," end quote. Friedrich Nietzsche indicated that the inspiration for "Thus Spake Zarathustra" came as a form of possession. Quote, "It invaded me. One can hardly reject the idea that one is the mere incarnation or mouthpiece or medium of some almighty power," end quote. It takes little thought to conclude which power inspired this great inspirer of Hitler. Drug use led the Beatles, as it would their fans, into Eastern mysticism and into yoga. They became followers of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi and practiced his transcendental meditation style of yoga. When he first brought it to the West, Maharishi called it the Spiritual Regeneration Movement. When that didn't take, he changed its name to the Science of Creative Intelligence, and it exploded, especially among celebrities. Today, however, after the influence of Eastern mysticism over the past 40 years, nearly everyone wants to be spiritual, but not religious.